Welcome back to March Sadness. I started this bracket 4 years ago during COVID, and the world went crazy and I never finished it. But right now we're here to determine the greatest emo and pop punk band of all time. Today we're going to break down the 8, 7, 6, and 5 seeds. These are bands that absolutely deserve their ticket to the dance, but they're going to have to fight to prove why they deserve to be here. Check, yes, Juliet, are you with me? Rain is falling down on the sidewalk. That's right, the first number 8 seed coming in is We the Kings. Check, yes, Juliet made this Florida band an absolute staple of the 2000s emo scene. We the Kings absolutely nailed the ultra-melodic, radio-friendly pop-punk sound, and they were led by frontman Travis Clark's signature vocals. Their self-titled album did go platinum, but they sit at an 8 seed because I don't really feel like they evolved as much as their peers in the scene at the time. But still, if you grew up in the Warped Tour scene in the early 2000s, this was one of your bands, and their sing-along songs still hit really hard. Obviously, we all know the hits, but I remember being really surprised when this band started getting a big radio push. So there's a chance that they fell a little bit to an 8 seed just because of my own bias. Disrespect your surroundings. That's right, this one may be controversial, but the next number 8 seed up is A Day to Remember. From breakdowns that punch you in the gut to pop punk hooks that make you want to cry in your car, A Day to Remember blended heavy and emotional like no other. With albums like Homesick and What Separates Me From You, they carved out a space for themselves not just in pop punk, but also in metalcore. They really do both well. Now listen, their impact is absolutely undeniable, but they're an 8 seed because, listen, the metalcore side of them really gets a big push. And if you come to our emo nights, you know that this ranking is about to set A Day to Remember off. He's going to think they should have been a 1 seed. But listen, I'm a big fan of the band. They've put out great albums. They've also put out kind of shit albums. So they're a number 8 seed. I think they got a fighting chance, but it's going to be an uphill battle to see them move forward in the bracket. Try to create something that's not there. The next 8 seed, and this one's going to be another controversial one, is Bayside. Bayside delivers some of the darkest lyricism in the genre. They've always blended pop-punk aggression with emo heartache. Anthony Ranieri's storytelling is unmatched, and albums like their self-titled and The Walking Wounded solidified their cult following. Listen, Bayside is truly a cult. That's not just their cool merch. The band really has a cult following. People sweat this band hard. I've had the pleasure of working with these guys a few times throughout the years, and they've always been really cool dudes, and they really love Thai food, if that helps anything. They're just at an 8 seed because they never really blew up like they were expected to. I mean, they flirted with like the mainstream rock thing for a while, but it never really took. And I feel like they have a dedicated following, which for a career in the long run, that's better. But I just always expected the band to really blow up. Again, I think they got a fighting chance here. As an 8 seed, maybe there's an upset on the way. But they truly are legends. I am not your carpet ride. I am the sky. You heard it right. The next number 8 seed, Thrice. Thrice is a thinker's emo band. They push boundaries, getting proggy, and crafting deep conceptual records. They started out with skate punk energy, but evolved into something truly unique, with multiple albums that can qualify as masterpieces. They're at 8 seeds simply because, although they are absolutely critically acclaimed, they just never really got the level of mainstream success as some of the bands ahead of them did. But there's no reason to sleep on Thrice. They could surprise everybody in this bracket. Now let's move on to the 7 seeds, the fan favorites that kind of went through a phase. I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. That's right, the first number 7 seed on the board, Simple Plan. Simple Plan is peak 2000s angsty pop punk. Their catchy, whiny, melodramatic pop punk sound is iconic, with hits like Perfect and Welcome to My Life still fueling nostalgia. They're a 7 seed simply because they always felt like a gateway band that got people into this type of music. They just never really reached the level of genre-defining legends. And with as many hits as they had, you would expect that. So let's play Dr. Babe. We'll operate today. Next, number 7. Senses Fail. Senses Fail mixed hardcore elements with deeply personal and occasionally unhinged lyrics. Let It Unfold and Still Searching are absolute scene classics. They're number 7 seed because they had and still have a very loyal following. And they did have one big radio hit. They just never seemed to really dominate the charts like some of the bands ahead of them did. Also, I might just still have a little disdain because when I saw these guys at the Staircase Lounge in Pittston, Pennsylvania, I never smelled a crowd that smelled worse than that in my entire life. It stunk in that place. I could still smell it. It still burns my nostrils to today. But listen, Senses Fail is a solid act. Let's see what they do moving forward. I'm a loner, Dottie. I'm a rebel. That's right, the next number 7 seed, the Get Up Kids. These guys basically invented emo as we know it. The Get Up Kids were pioneers of the second wave emo sound. They literally influenced everyone from My Chemical Romance to Fall Out Boy. And that's why they're number 7. That seeding comes from being more influential than commercially successful. But listen, Something to Write Home About is still one of the greatest albums ever written. It defines the genre, and it's influenced every single band that you know and love. So you're going to want to get up on the Get Up Kids. I had a dream last night, we drove out to see Las Vegas. You guessed right, the next number 7 seed, Mayday Parade. If you were a scene kid in the 2000s, you definitely cried to Mayday Parade, at least once. With emotional lyrics and epic acoustic ballads, A Lesson in Romantics cemented their place in the Emo Hall of Fame. They're a 7 seed because I just feel like they really peaked early, but don't worry, their sad boy legacy remains very strong, and I think they're a fighter in this battle. So here's those sad 6 seeds, the ones that almost broke into the top tier. They just missed out. Maybe when the room is empty, maybe when this bottle's full. That's right, the first number 6 seed is my favorite band of all time, Something Corporate. Andrew McMahon's first major band blended emo lyrics and piano rock in a way that felt fresh and heartfelt. When you're talking about emo essential albums, Leaving Through the Window and North are on every list. So the only reason they're a number 6 seed is because these guys kind of burnt hard and fast. Something Corporate was everywhere. And I really think they were going to get a major push and become like a very much mainstream band, but they burnt out fast. McMahon went on to a lot of success with them and without them, but the band as a whole, their works, although my favorite music of all time, really sit at a proper 6 seed ranking. But I wouldn't say that you should count them out of this tournament yet. I'll keep you my dirty little secret. That's right, the next number 6 seed coming at you guys is the All-American Rejects. This band just had straight up hits. From Swing Swing to Give You Hell, they really just knew how to top the charts. They're a 6 seed because I just feel like they leaned a little bit too much into the pop and not so much the punk later in their career. But their impact on this scene culture in the early 2000s is absolutely undeniable. You're not going to find many bands in this bracket that had as much mainstream success as them. Also, my 22nd birthday was absolutely defined by this band. But hopefully we'll talk more about that later. I called her on the phone and she... I think you guys know where this is going. The next number 6 seed is Say Anything. Max Bemis is an absolute lyrical genius. And I don't care what anybody says, Is a Real Boy is a landmark emo album. It's one of the greatest ever written. It's one of the best ever put out in the genre. And also, while we're at it, in defense of the genre, is an absolute masterpiece. It's 2 discs, start to finish. It's great. There's a lot of criticisms about it, but bring people in for features. This earns the band a number 6, if nothing else. They're a solid band, and they have a rabid cult following. Now that being said, they're hurt a little bit by Bemis's inability to really keep things on the straight and narrow. Now he's got a lot of personal struggles, but that's really taken the band in and out of the ability to tour and really consistently work themselves as a band. And also, if you're on TikTok, he's currently going viral, puking all over himself on stage. But he finished the show. Cut my wrists and black my eyes. That's right. Hawthorne Heights is a number 6 seed. This is probably the most controversial seeding of the entire bracket. But I want you guys to take into account that I'm going with 2020 rankings. And since then, Hawthorne Heights has really been the catalyst for the emo revival that we've seen since COVID and lockdown kind of ended. These guys are doing it big. They have their own festival. They're everywhere. They're pop culture icons. And they're still putting out good music. Let's be straight here. Hawthorne Heights defines scene culture with the Silence in Black and White. JT, their lead singer, is a buddy of mine, and I'm just a big fan of the band in general. If we did the ranking right now, these guys would be a lot higher. But let's see what they can do from here. 5 seeds. The bands that were on the cusp of elite status. If you want to destroy my sweater, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's right, the first number 5 seed on the board is Weezer. Weezer's Blue Album and Pinkerton are legendary, but their later output is kind of divisive. These guys were one of my first bands. I saw them, New Found Glory, and Something Corporate. I remember being young, and I don't think I ever smelt weed before, and the whole crowd was a big weed cloud. I remember being so nervous going home that my mom was going to think that I smelled like weed. They're a 5 seed because their influence is absolutely huge. But they're a 5 seed also because of their inconsistency. And also, they kind of flirt with the scene, but it's really debatable if they are a scene band or a Warped Tour band. I don't know. I think they work, but I'm not sure they check all the boxes. It's a debate for us to have. Tell me what you thought about when you were gone. And that's right, the next number 5 seed is The Starting Line. Pop, punk, perfection, but never superstars. Say It Like You Mean It remains absolute essential pop punk listening material. Now, these dudes hail from the suburbs of Philly, so growing up, I got to see them a lot. They played the area. It made sense from the tour around here. I saw them a lot, and they've always been great live. I've also had the pleasure of booking them and the lead singer of the band, Kenny, a couple times. Great dudes, chill, soft-spoken, kind. And my personal opinion has always been that they're one of the most underrated bands in this entire scene. Let's see if we can make a case for them later on in the tournament. I was just a stupid kid back then. This one's going to be controversial. Alkaline Trio is a 5 seed. Dark humor, macabre lyrics, and cult status make them legends. They're a 5 seed because they always just fell outside the complete mainstream notoriety category. I always appreciated Alkaline Trio. I think they have some great songs, but I could just never make myself completely fall in love with the band. That being said, I completely respect and understand the influence they've had. And because of that influence, they're coming in pretty high up in the bracket as a number 5 seed. I'm on fire, and now I think I'm ready to bust a move. That's right, your next number 5 seed, Motion City Soundtrack. Synth-driven emo pop that's totally unique. A 5 seed because they kind of fell off the radar right as they were about to become next level huge and be absolutely beloved for the rest of time to all emo kids. The Future Freaks Me Out is an all-time jam. It got serious radio play, and it was pushed on MTV. And absolutely nobody can compete with these guys when it came to lyrics. I'm a lyric guy. These guys have awesome lyrics. They have great melodies. The songs are undeniable. I really thought they were going to be around to become one of the biggest bands in the world back when I was in college in like 2008. Fortunately, it never really got as big as I thought it was going to, but they deserve a 5 seed all day. So there's our rundown. There's your 8 through 5 seeds. Stay tuned, because tomorrow we're going to drop the 4 through 1 seeds. And then we're going to get the matchup started, and we're going to find out who the best emo and pop punk band is in the entire world right through this bracket. I promise you're not going to have to wait another 4 years. While you're here, like, subscribe, follow, do all the good stuff. Catch you soon.